Brandon Cutler here from AEW, and I hope you guys have an awesome podcast with the MonsterCast.
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, Fightful here. You're watching the MonsterCast with Jack and Ryan. A big shout out to those fellas. Good people. Check them out.
Here's your hosts of the MonsterCast, the Straight Edge Monster Jack and Ryan.
Hello everybody, welcome to the MonsterCast. This is episode 30-something. I am tired. I just took a shower. My hair is doing some crazy shit. Welcome. It looks like Nick Jackson just got into a 6-man battle with Death Triangle. Speaking of, rocking some more Elite related stuff. I got the Young Buck shirt, the new shirt that matches the shoes that my bro over here, Ryan, got me for my birthday earlier this year. Check out the sweet Nick Jackson headband too. That's pretty sweet, right? This looks like something he would wear for sure. Get some tassels and connect it to it to cover up my eyes. But he's rocking the Death Triangle shirt, of course, because if you watch the prediction show, you know I made fun of him for it. Because I said he's not rocking the Death Triangle shirt, and I'm rocking the Golden Elite shirt because he knows that his boy's about to lose. Then he made the decision to go ahead and say, yeah, I know they're going to lose. He picked the Elite. You picked the Elite. I picked the Elite. I believe at one point in the show, we also said that it was probably the easiest one to pick.
No, you said that.
And you said yes, too, until we got to the Saraya match.
I said that it's possible that they retain to put the Elite back into the title picture.
You're lucky I haven't had any time to pull from the show, bro, because I promise you agreed with me. Anyway, we both got it wrong.
We did pick them, but we did also discuss that there was a world where it was possible that they did come back and lose. Because I even remember specifically saying, I said, Kenny might not want to come back and just take the titles back anyway, because he's put Pac over before. He likes Pac a lot, like all that shit. You remember that part of the conversation? So we did talk about Death Triangle.
He didn't put Pac over though. He put Phoenix over.
Yeah, technically.
By the way, I do think it was pretty cool that Omega was the one that took the pin.
I mean, it made the most sense with the setup, I guess, too. Concealing the hammer, being in position to hit somebody with it, that
would be the one person that Phoenix could not pin on his own, right?
Yeah. Apparently, since that's who he lost the AAA title to.
The Mega title, yeah. So, All right, so we're going to get into this. I didn't set up any of the show. I'm tired. I had some BR app issues. Watched the show after. We were watching it live. Me and Ryan were texting back and forth. I was texting back and forth with a lot of other people that were watching it as well. And then all of a sudden, BR app just started fucking up. Well, I mean, first time ever. And I've heard the horror stories of other people having big time issues with BR app. I did see some people actually in the chat as well. By the way, the chat is toxic as fuck on BR. Anyway,
yeah. There's no chat on the web.
There was other people that had issues. There was other people that had issues, the same issue I was having. And it eventually got to the point where I was like, fuck it, I'm done. I'll just go to sleep, because I was tired anyway, staying up all day, trying to get the prediction video up on their new YouTube channel, by the way, which you can see at the bottom. Just type MonsterCast, one word, M&C capitalized, or you can just search the handle @RealMonsterCast, just like our Twitter. And you can find our new YouTube channel where this show will be posted, and then other small videos from this episode as well. But anyway, so the whole thing is I watched probably like the first 3-4 matches, no problem. And then all of a sudden it just started fucking cutting off like every 10 minutes. I'd reconnect, go all the way back through and reconnect, and it was just having major issues for me.
I was watching on the website and didn't have any problems with it, so I think it was probably just an app thing.
I think it had something to do with casting in the app instead of just watching it straight from the Roku device. That's what I'm gathering. It was a casting issue. Because this is the first time I've tried to cast it from the phone to the Chromecast in the living room or in the bedroom. So, but anyway, it's whatever. I did get to watch it just super later, or finish it just super later. than everybody else. And then I watched the media scrum as well, which we will go over. But first, we just got to talk about the pay-per-view. The pay-per-view itself. Let's talk about Full Gear. We got the title up by Ryan today because he actually did win predictions last night by 1. The obviously deciding factor was the MJF Moxley match, and I guess we can start there because that was like the biggest news coming out of the pay-per-view. Obviously, after it was all said and done, was MJF is your new AEW World Champion. Thoughts?
Not surprised, obviously. I
Let
don't.
it be known that he's still way behind in the overall prediction rankings. I haven't had time to update those yet either, but he only gained 1 match. Let's just throw that out there.
Just look at my title. So I don't like the way they did it. I don't think it makes any sense. They weren't building.
Didn't I say that? Wasn't that a scenario that we threw out on the show though?
Yeah, but it's a scenario that a lot of people have thrown out for the last like 3 weeks. But the thing is, it still doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, there's never been any hint of Regal working with MJF. There's never been any dissent between Regal and anybody else in BCC. All the issues in BCC had nothing to do with Regal or Moxley. So it doesn't really make any sense except for like a Regal being like, oh, like I see myself in him type of shit. But that still doesn't give him any reason to turn on BCC.
But he also kind of saw himself in Regal, in Moxley too, so irrelevant. But here's the thing:
it just doesn't make any sense.
I thought it was going to actually happen when I saw them come out. So when they came out, he's been talking to Regal and making it a point to act like he's talking to Regal off camera or whatever a lot, and I just thought that was weird because he never really did that before. So the more that he did that, and then he was doing it on the way out to the ring through the backstage area or whatever. Last night, I was like, this is fucking weird. Like, he doesn't ever do that. And Regal definitely never goes through the crowd with him. So I thought those two things were kind of a hint. And then if you want to do shoot version, let's Regal turned on him because he hit him in the face with the title when he put that bitch over his shoulder. I don't know if you saw that part or not. When he was in the crowd, he went to go throw the title up and he hit fucking Regal in the face with it. That shit was funny. That's why he turned on him right there.
Maybe. I also, just the way that it played out didn't really make any sense, because if the whole thing is for Regal to turn on Moxley anyway, then why would Regal come out and stop MJF from using the fucking ring? Just let him use it. Who cares? Like, the whole point of it is clearly to write off MJF having the ring, but to replace that like theme in his character with the brass knuckles. That's the whole, like, because he can't have the ring, which is the casino whatever the fuck ring for getting a title shot, if he's already the champion.
Diamond Battle Royale ring or whatever the hell it's called.
So somebody else is going to win that, so they're going to have to use it. So storyline wise, it's not going to make any sense for him to have it and be punching people with it. So now he needs something else to cheat with. So getting Regal's brass knuckles is what they've come up with, I guess. But the turn itself still makes no fucking sense.
Now the face tease to go back heel turn makes sense for MJF, but Ryan is saying that it doesn't make any sense for Regal to turn heel, and I pretty much agree. And it's going to be weird to see how they tell that story, because they clearly have an idea of what they're going to say on Dynamite, right? Like they didn't do that at the drop of a hat. They have a plan to try to make this make sense. I'm just very interested because I don't see how they're going to make it that way, honestly.
I mean, like I said, they're probably just going to do the like, oh, I see so much of myself in him shit. But yeah, it doesn't really make sense because he said that about Danielson. He said that about Moxley. Like, on top of that, you're kind of fucking up one of the hottest factions that you have right now with BCC.
Well, my issue is that you're trading Danielson, Claudio, and Moxley, who you personally scouted for WWE at one point and saw yourself in all three of these men,
to a guy you didn't take,
and you
for
traded
WWE.
it for a guy that you said that needed to show you more in an email and completely ignored. That's weird to me.
Yeah, and also it's not like MJF needs Regal in any sense. Like, not storyline, not non-storyline. Like, in what fucking way does he need Regal, like, as a manager? It doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't like the way that it was done. It doesn't really make any sense to me. I think it was probably the most boring way they could have gone with everything. I like the way the match was worked. because obviously being in New Jersey, everybody was cheering for Max, so Mox immediately just starts working heel. It worked out really well. I was expecting more like a double turn kind of thing, which would have been fine. Like heel BCC would be great, but the way that they did it, it just now you have Regal gone, so the whole Blackpool part of the Blackpool Combat Club is no longer there. But
They'll
then
probably just call
post
it the
show,
Combat Club because I think if you notice, I think you probably saw the pictures on Twitter as well. They came out to console Moxley and tell him what happened. The rest of
yeah,
the club.
it's like a whole video, yeah. So
Yeah,
they
so
all,
there's like, so I think this actually might help them get all back on the same track because now they have something to go against, which is MJF. Does that make sense? And Regal. So like, you know how there was dissension between Danielson and Yuta? Well, Yuta and Danielson both ran out there to help out Moxley and help him get up and check him out or whatever and tell him what happened. So I think that actually helps them get cohesive again because they were clearly not doing that with Regal.
what's the name of the group now though? You still call it Blackpool, even though the one
No,
fucking
I
British
said just
guy's
call it
gone?
Combat Club.
Yeah, I guess doesn't have the same ring to it. Um, yeah, I guess. All right. I think we've covered that enough. The match itself was really good. I like the match a lot. Working the knee, the whole match was very like I said, I like the way that Mox kind of picked up immediately that the crowd was just gonna boo him no matter what and just started working heel. It was great. Um I'm not sure I mean it definitely wasn't like the best match on the card or anything, but it was better than wrestling wise, I think it was better than I thought it was gonna be. So
Talking about the MJF Moxley match still.
hmm
Okay, yeah. It was. I mean, it turned out pretty good. I think it was better than their first match that they had together.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so best match on the card, trios title match,
Ooh.
or Tony Storm Hater.
Or Tony Storm Hater was really good. The trios match was really good. The four-way was really fucking good.
Yeah, 4-way was good, but I gotta show love to Hater and Tony Storm though. Like that was. I mean, obviously, if I'm picking, it's the trios, obviously.
Do you
But
think you might be rating that one higher because the other two women's matches on the card were kind of not great?
I don't think the Saraya Britt Baker match actually was that bad, honestly.
Okay.
I think it was solid. I think it was a solid match. I think I'm in total agreement with JR where he said this could be a step to like a huge rivalry between those two. Kind of like Thunder Rosa and Britt could have been if Thunder Rosa wasn't an asshole, basically.
Yeah.
But basically Paige said exactly in the media scrum what I was saying yesterday on the show. Yes, the promos weren't the best or whatever, but that's not what the whole thing was initially supposed to be about anyway. It wasn't supposed to be heel versus face. It was just supposed to be a dream matchup between Saraya and fucking Britt Baker, and they kind of worked themselves into a fucking storyline that made no sense. Because Britt comes off looking like the face like you were saying yesterday, and then that makes you not like Saraya's comebacks, and that because Britt's been the heel for what, 2 years? So and your biggest heel in that division before Jade came in. So it didn't make any sense for Saraya to use the leverage that she was using in her promos, like you were saying yesterday with the Madison Square Garden and all that shit, which is valid, super valid. But what I was saying yesterday was that's not why I care about the match anyway. So those promos didn't matter to me. I wanted to see Britt Baker versus Saraya because that was a dream matchup. And I do think that now that they got the first one out of the way and everything seems good, Saraya was in good spirits in the media scrum and stuff like that. You saw Britt Baker come out later again to help out Hater. So she was clearly uninjured in that match as well, which is a good sign. Because not everybody got out of that unscathed. Tony Storm looked like she broke her fucking nose. So
Pack 2, actually.
yeah, Pack 2. So you definitely didn't get out of the pay-per-view unscathed. I did call in the Discord. I was in a Discord with a few people, and I said as soon as Jungle Boy came out, I said, "Oh shit, he's got his hair up. He's gonna bleed." And then literally like a minute later into the match, he started bleeding.
It didn't take long. God damn. It did not take long.
You gave yourself up with that. Like he didn't want all that blood in his hair. I don't blame him. But anyway, but no, I do believe that the Saraya Britt Baker is only gonna get better. It has no other choice but to, because why would Britt Baker just leave it alone now? You know what I'm saying? Like Saraya winning made the most sense if they wanted to continue the feud anyway. If Saraya comes in there and immediately loses to Britt, then Britt has nothing to fight for. So even if they end up turning Britt face
I mean,
or even massive heel on Hater, however they're going to turn this,
yeah.
I'm cool with, honestly. Because eventually it's going to be kind of like what we thought Blackpool Combat Club was going to be initially, where Moxley was going to be champ, and then Danielson didn't get the title, and then Danielson was going to turn on Moxley eventually because Danielson couldn't be champion and couldn't beat Mox. So we all thought Danielson was going to be the one that eventually turned heel, but of course that didn't happen. That could happen here with like Britt and Hater, where either Hater turns massive heel on Britt and turns Britt back face, or Britt turns on Hater and catapults Hater even more than she already is because she's already getting cheered by the audience anyway.
I think it makes sense, right? Okay. I don't think you have to do that with Britt. I don't think you have to put her against Hater in any way. Like, the way that things played out last night, where it seemed like she was just like fully in support of her winning the title and was just like going to help her out and all that stuff, that works for me. You can have Britt take a back seat for a little bit. You don't even have to have her necessarily go against Hater during Hater's run. You can keep her. You can have her go for the fucking TBS title, like, because that's a credible person for Jade to lose to. There's a lot of stuff you can do with her without breaking up that little clique that I think would still work in the narrative. Tony Storm,
Yes. Big question. What do you do with Tony Storm?
right? Because she does still have like a valid claim to the belt because she did lose to interference and bullshit.
And we said this
Um,
yesterday on the show. What happens if they have their first ever change at an interim position? Well, here it is. Now, if Thunder Rosa comes back, because like I said yesterday on the prediction show, Thunder Rosa might be more inclined to come back now because she thinks she can go ahead and beat a heel Hater, but Hater's getting cheered now. So if whatever she was thinking, that's out the window. But let's say she comes back, it's almost impossible not to make that a triple threat, right?
well, you saw what Tony said about that at the Scrum, right?
Well, he said if Thunder Rosa doesn't eventually come back, he's going to have to make a very difficult decision on turning that thing into not an interim title anymore.
Well, before he even started talking about whether or not it was a difficult decision, he said, what was his wording? He said they might explore options to make it not an interim title before he even started talking about whether or not Rosa was going to come back. So they might just say, "Hey, Rosa, you're stripped of it because you've been gone too fucking long, and this is the real champion now. And if you want it when you come back, you can compete for it when you get back."
I mean, but all this underlying shit, and we'll talk about Media Scrum anyway. I kind of wanted to focus just on the pay-per-view itself, but because we're already there, doesn't all this underlying shit all the way back from the All Out Media Scrum just give you the feeling that they are also under the impression that her injury is bullshit?
Tony definitely seemed like it.
And Tony did too.
Sorry,
at All Out.
Tony Storm. I mean,
yeah,
it's very confusing. We got three
think
different
both
fucking
Tonys.
Tonys.
I think both
Yeah.
Tonys do.
Yeah, Tony Schiavone. There's bullshit. So yeah, I don't know that it was bullshit, but I think what I said at the time was she probably really did have like an injury that she needed to address. It's just that it didn't have to be addressed right then. It's like one of those injuries that you could work through for a while. And she probably had been working through it, but like I'd mentioned, it did seem like she had slowed down a little bit in some of her recent matches. It was just a question of whether or not that was because she was phoning it in all of a sudden, or because she was working through an injury. But either way, she could have done one more fucking match to drop the title, and she chose not to. So chose not to like pretty last minute too, probably when she heard that she was about to lose it, which is fucking weird. And if I'm Tony Khan, I don't reward that behavior by having her come back and regain her title. That's fucking silly. So. I don't know what Thunder Rosa's plan is, but I don't think whatever her plan is going to result in her coming back and winning regardless. She's going to come back, she's going to lose, it's going to clear up all the fucking like whatever about interim and not interim, and then she can be relegated to the top of the mid card.
And the craziest part about that whole thing for me, dude, is it wasn't like they told her to go out and lose to Marina Shafir. Drop the title to her.
I know.
And that's no shade to her, it's just that she's not being built up, obviously,
Right.
is what I'm saying.
Right.
You're being told to drop it to Tony Storm, who's
My
clearly
character
been
wouldn't
built
lose.
up
My character
and
wouldn't
clearly
lose
has
this
a name
match.
and a following, and you've already had the title forever, and you got mad because you had to drop it to Tony Storm. What?
Look, her character.
Who else are you
wouldn't
gonna
lose
drop
that
it to?
Her character.
That's not part
would
of my
not lose that
character. I
match.
don't think my character would do that.
My character wouldn't lose that match. Hulk Hogan has a 10-inch dick, but Terry Bollea has a 6-inch dick. That's how that works. That's a matter of public record, by the way. I don't know what the fuck the Thunder Rosa plan angle like idea is with like it's Shawn Michaels without the leverage is what it is. Like you don't when you come back, you don't have the clout, you don't have the fan support, you don't have the anything to weasel your way back into getting the title right back. So
Yeah, I'm
none of
not
it
saying
makes
she
any
didn't
sense to
get good
me.
reactions and shit when she came out, but it was
Yeah.
almost kind of like after the bell rang, then what? Unless you were going against Britt, like what stood out? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
and even Britt's been on record to say that, like on the Swerves podcast and stuff like that, that they clearly have really good chemistry together. So that is like Brett versus Shawn type deal. But neither Tony nor Britt, and if anybody was in the position, it would be Britt to be in that Shawn position where she could literally have leverage behind a decision, whereas
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa definitely does not. So yeah, that was weird to me. That's weird to me. But let's talk about the actual matches. Let's go through. I'll try to remember them in order because I don't have the notebook in front of me. I have it in the bedroom where I was checking off and Xing out, keeping the records. But anyway, pre-show. Jun Akiyama and Eddie Kingston, what you think about that? The best friends and Danhausen, worst
Are you
kept
doing
secret
one at a
ever.
time? Or are you just gonna list all of them? What the fuck?
No, I'm just doing
So-
I'm going to say what the three matches were on the pre-show.
Okay.
And then they went against the Factory, and then of course
those
you
three
had Brian Cage and Ricky Starks.
Okay. Starks beating Cage kind of telegraphed the ending of the show for me. Because
That's what
we
I
kind of-
said. That's literally
we
what I
kind-
said in the Discord that I was talking about, that I was in. I said, if Starks wins, doesn't that kind of tell you who's going to win in the main event?
Yeah.
Because we all think that Ethan Page is winning the whole thing, right?
Right.
And Ethan Page clearly has a story built up already with the firm turning on MJF and MJF firing the firm.
Mhm.
So as soon as Ricky Starks wins that match, and you know it's Ricky Starks versus Ethan Page, you already know Ethan Page is winning, which means MJF would be winning the main event.
Right. Exactly.
Because it makes no sense for Ethan Page to go through all that shit and then get dumped on his head by Moxley twice and lose in a 7-minute match.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was a good match though. I think it went like 8-10 minutes, something like that. It wasn't anything crazy, but he hit him with a pretty clean Rochambeau, which I was
The
surprised
thing
by.
I like
considering how
about their
big his ass
pre-show
is.
is that they have 3 matches on it, and they gave them all really good amounts of time because your pre-show is an hour, so you're working in the
Yeah.
video packages and that instead of video package and then talk about that match for 10 minutes, video package, talk about that match for 10 minutes, then throw a fucking 3-minute fucking single female match out there like WWE does. It's so fucking annoying.
Yeah. Yeah, they each went about 10 minutes, I think. So it was like 10 minutes match, 10 minutes promo, 10 minutes match, 10 minutes promo. So yeah, I mean it works out really well. The Starks match was good. The Eddie Kingston Akiyama match was really good. I expected it to be, like a decent match, but it ended up being a lot better than I think I had expectations for too. Obviously Eddie cared a lot about it, so he was going to put a lot of effort into it, but they didn't really have any fucked up spots or anything like that. It was pretty straightforward match.
By the way, why do you need the 3 announcers to hype up the thing? Just have Eddie Kingston have the last match of the pre-show and then give him the fucking live mic, dude. He'll
right.
get you some buys. He'll get you people. He'll get people to buy the fucking pay-per-view, dude.
They could just replay his it's 7:54 in 20 seconds. Go buy the goddamn pay-per-view. I can just do that for every pay-per-view. Just play that as a
So
clip.
what the hell are we even doing? Like what? Like if you ain't bought the pay-per-view yet, man, like, you're probably not going to. Like I don't understand. I never understood that concept of like, oh man, we're about to go live in 30 seconds. It's gonna take you fucking 5 minutes to order the fucking pay-per-view. So
Also,
like what?
that's not that's like if I'm watching it, I'm not watching these matches like they better fucking convince me to buy it in these 3 matches. I've either already decided I'm gonna watch it or not. And I've bought every AEW pay-per-view, so it's not like, but I do buy them last second sometimes, but it's definitely not because they were like reminding me that I needed.
This is the one I bought. This one the earliest out of all of them, and even though our hype scale was only at 8 yesterday on the prediction show going into it, this is the earliest I've ever bought a pay-per-view. So
I think I bought it like 30 minutes before. I mean, it wasn't like last minute or anything, but I usually don't
bought it
buy
on
them
like
super
Tuesday.
early. I buy them when I'm 100% sure I'm not doing anything that night, and that but I've been able to buy every one because I just tend to not make plans when I know there's going to be one. So then the best friends match with the Factory and Danhausen and all that. Um,
Suplex
I'm
City, Danhausen.
yeah, I fucking said that. I said Suplex City in the YouTube chat when I was watching on YouTube because he came in there and started German suplexing fucking everybody. I thought the match was fine. I am glad they didn't do the fucking Danhausen under the ring shit. Actually, I think I had mentioned that at one point.
You like the serious Danhausen theme? Because I know a lot of people are huge fans of his other theme, the comedy one, where it's like the Danhausen show theme song.
Oh no, his music was sick as fuck. I
Yeah.
liked it a lot. I do wish that his makeup was more different. Because
Well,
some of the
that was
pictures that
pretty OG. That was like the OG makeup right there.
yeah, but some of the pictures that he's put on social media, it's like a more like a skull kind of thing, like deep sunken fucking black stuff, and like it's different. It's more like
I think part of that honestly is because
Darby
he
Allin.
trademarked his face paint. So I don't think he wanted to deviate too far away from what he's already trademarked because he doesn't want people to use whatever the different face paint would be and hurry up and trademark that now that they know he can trademark face paint styles and shit for
Yeah,
like merch and stuff. So I think that might be actually part of it, honestly.
should have known that from the Ultimate Warrior. Yeah, the match itself was good though. Uh, I don't I don't know how long they keep the evil Danhausen thing going because he's such a merch
Well, he was
mover with
backstage
his.
later on and he kind of acted like normal Danhausen.
Mm, okay, they might
Yeah,
just bring it.
I wouldn't mind a Mankind situation.
Or just bring it out like fucking the demon for Finn Balor was for a while.
I don't know about all that, but the Mankind situation where you come out with the evil music and then when you win, you turn into
It's the
Happy
good music.
Danhausen and go back to the other shit. Like that's what he
Yeah.
used to do. That's what Mankind used to do.
Yeah, I
They
know.
had the two different theme songs or whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be okay. And then you can
So
be have a nice day, happy go lucky Danhausen on the outside, and then as soon as you get in the match, you're fucking deranged fucking Danhausen.
speaking of two different theme songs, when the Elite came out to Wayward Son, my first thought was, did they license to play this twice or are they about to fucking lose? Because I was like, well, they could play their regular music when they win, or they could have licensed it to play it twice, but it's probably pretty fucking expensive. Or they might just be about to lose, so they don't have to worry about playing it more than
Well, there
once.
was a rumor a few weeks back that they tried to trademark the Wayward Sons, and everybody thought they was going to be going under that because they can't be called the Young Bucks forever because that doesn't make any sense when you're older rather.
Jungle
But
Man.
Jungle Boy makes sense though. Just like Tony Khan said, Nature Boy is
Nature
pretty
Boy.
much the exact same fucking thing. So like, I don't understand why people. If it turned into a nickname like Jack Perry was saying in the Scrum, then he doesn't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. You can be called Jungle Boy Jack Perry for the rest of your career. I don't care about that.
Yeah.
It's like he said, it's more of a nickname now because he doesn't do all the silly shit that he was doing as the actual character. Just
They
like
still called
Luchasaurus
him
doesn't do all the
Gorilla
silly shit.
Monsoon, even when he was no longer big.
Um, Anyway, so like they could do it like that, but I feel like they're gonna play it at least 6 more fucking times
Yeah.
because they got the goddamn best of 7 now. So,
Oh,
do
yeah.
we even count that as a loss
So
until this whole thing is over? Because they counted that as the first match. So technically, we don't know. They're not going to keep trading the titles back and forth. If Elite wins it,
no. They did explain this. So it's not trading the titles back and forth. Whoever wins the series wins the titles. So
but
it's not
that's
going
my
back and
point.
forth.
So that
What do you mean?
first one technically isn't even a title match because it's a part of a bigger picture, right?
No, it still was, but now as part of the best of 7, whoever wins the best of 7 ends up with the titles. They don't switch back and forth. Each match is not a title match. But the whole series is a title series. So no, they explained that. They did kind of give away the Kenny Omega being at Wrestle Kingdom thing where they posted the fucking dates for everything, and then the Wrestle Kingdom date wasn't on the list. I forget who brought that up at the Scrum, but I was like, yeah, that's pretty obvious. And then watching the crossover,
It
thing,
might have
I
been
was
Will
like,
Washington, but he's got bigger problems on his hands right now with Max Caster coming after him and sort of.
Dude, Anthony Bowen's cracking up as soon as he started to even ask a question. Made me laugh. But yeah.
All right, let's talk more about AEW Full Gear here. Okay, so let's get into all right, the
Four-way?
Jade Cargill Nyla
Oh.
Rose match, the weakest match on the card, but
Yeah.
we also agree that it wasn't one of the better stories being built either. I like that they put the time and effort behind the story. It just wasn't clicking.
I appreciated the stolen finishers. I thought that was interesting and something
Yeah,
that doesn't
I
get
want
done
to
enough.
say I want to say that match, like towards the end, it started getting ramped up a
Hmm.
little bit, and I was like, damn, it kind of sucks that this match is about to end because they're finally starting to hit
Hit
kind of
their
a
stride.
groove. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. Um, yeah, the first half of the match was really slow, and then the last half of it picked up. But the problem is the match was only like 7 or 8 minutes, so that
There
last
was a
half was
part
only a
that
few minutes long.
uh Bix had mentioned on Twitter. He said it kind of looked like it might have been clunky because Jade could have like got stunned a little bit during a move or something because she was kind of really clunky and slow for a while, but then she turned it on at the end, so maybe she got over whatever the initial, like, I don't know, wind knocked out of her,
I think
anything
there
like
was.
that, something like that.
I don't remember if I'm confusing it with another match, but I feel like there's a spot where she hit the ropes weird, like her head or something. I don't know. I might be confusing it with a different spot in a different match, but I do remember thinking like, oh, that probably fucking hurt for real. Um, and so maybe I don't know. I'd have to rewatch it, but no, like it did start to get better near the end. The stolen finisher stuff was really interesting. Uh, Vicky coming out in the Rhea Ripley shirt that's a ripoff of her late husband's merch was confusing. Um,
She used to have that shirt way back in the day, though.
was it the same font and everything?
Rhea Ripley ripped it off of Vicky OG long time ago.
I don't remember how. I know that obviously there was the "I'm Your Bobby" shirt with the same font and everything, but I don't remember the mommy one. Um, but yeah, I saw some people say some shit about that, and I was just like, bro, that's that's not. Like I understand it's Rhea Ripley merch, but it's still Eddie Guerrero merch, kinda. So it makes sense. Um, I I didn't hate this match. I thought it was better than the. You're not gonna like this. I thought it was better than the Saraya Britt Baker match.
No, I completely disagree with that, and I'm a huge Nyla and Jade fan, but it was not better than that match. I don't think so.
Uh, I just thought that the Britt Baker match was. It felt like they were moving at half speed, and I understand why. Because this is somebody that's just coming back. They probably haven't really had time to get in like a lot of practice training, whatever, in the time since they were cleared. And Britt probably felt like she had to be super careful with her and stuff like that. But watching the match felt like it was moving in slow motion. And there were a lot of spots where it was just like it was too it was like way too like cooperative for me. I felt like um it wasn't like the way it was laid out was fine and nobody really fucked anything up. Like the flow of the match made sense, but it just felt so slow. Like it was so careful
I mean,
that it was
it
taking me
was
out of it.
to me it was faster than the other one, but it should have been. So it doesn't. I mean, the other two are two giants. That's like Andre versus Big John Studd compared to fucking, like it makes sense that they were slower. That Nyla and Jade to me was slower and more clunky and shit that's going on and didn't hit their stride till the end. The issue with the Brit Saraya thing, there's two nitpicks I have. One, if you're gonna be a longer uh match because you clearly had more time than Nyla and Jade did, then I feel like the slow part at the beginning should have been done better.
Mm.
And then you should have ramped it up instead of pretty much being the same pace the entire time. Because I feel like they were the same pace the entire time and didn't actually get faster like a Jade and Nyla did. And the other nitpick I have is I did not like the fake neck injury spot. Don't like that.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that.
Especially because it didn't turn into anything anyway. So it was really no point to do it.
Also, if that's the okay, if the story you're telling in kayfabe is that Britt Baker is trying to hurt her to win the match and is working the neck,
Which she
then why
was
would you
later on. She
stop?
was working the neck on the
Right.
outside. Yeah.
Then why would you stop wrestling because she's like selling her neck in a way that's supposed to make you worry that she's in like it didn't make any sense. From Britt Baker's character's point of view, you would just keep attacking at that point. So I didn't like that. I thought it was kind of dumb.
But once they ignored that part and got into their rhythm at the end, I think it was better too. When they realized that they could do more powerful moves, I guess, to Saraya, and she could take
Mm.
stuff. I think that helped. I think that helped the match later on. I also think that's one of the reasons why I believe going forward that match could be really fucking good. I do think there's chemistry there. It's just like you said, they're kind of playing it cautious with this match. The last thing you want to do is go out there and then have everybody attack Britt Baker if something goes wrong, because that's how the internet works, just like they did with Sasha. So
Right.
you want to play it safe, make sure everybody gets out of there healthy, and then move forward from there and let her body get through these motions and bumps and shit and see if she can take it. And then the more that she works, the better these matches are going to be. Like she said, yes, she's probably been training for a couple months or whatever, but storyline wise, they're saying that she was only cleared like a week and a half ago or whatever, 2 weeks ago. So when was she gonna ring to work off this ring rust type deal? Does that make sense? Like, so we got to give her some time. But I don't think it was a bad first. It wasn't better than CM Punk's first match coming back against Darby, but I don't think it was. I don't think it was bad. It could have been a lot worse. That's all I'm gonna say. How about that? It could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in there with Britt, who is known for getting hurt a lot, just in the wrong spot at the wrong time type deal, like bad luck type stuff. So like, that was interesting. The other thing is, I don't want this to turn into Saraya going after Jade, because Jade is still very new, and it's only going to take one pump kick to fuck Saraya up probably. So I'm not trying to see that.
Yeah, and also I don't want to see Saraya be the one to break Jade's streak anyway. I already have a problem with her coming back and beating Britt.
I'm fully under the
wouldn't like that
impression
either.
that Chris Statlander is being waited on to come back and take the title from Jade at this point.
Yeah, probably. Hopefully.
All right, so what else we got
Now,
going on?
Statlander Saraya would be interesting. I'd watch that.
Okay, so let's talk. All right, four-way. You brought it up earlier as probably your favorite after the trios.
Yeah,
So,
I like this one.
okay, so obviously Jericho won. We both picked Jericho, so that was great. They unfortunately didn't bring Adam Cole back, but we did get good news about Adam Cole and Hangman Adam Page. We'll talk about that in the next segment or whatever. But overall, this match was crazy. I think. Oh man, so they had a lot of really good near falls during this pay-per-view where I was fucked, right? Like 4 of them in the Tony Storm hater match, right?
Yeah.
Like that shit was crazy. They actually did my fucking CM Punk conspiracy theory with the Britt Baker shit, where she came out in the all black and helped out. I was like, what the fuck? They were like taking our scenarios that we were talking about at the very end of the prediction show, like what could happen, and like mix matched them all. Yeah, it was fucking crazy. Because they did the hammer thing, right? They did the hammer thing, and we didn't think Phoenix was going to do it,
right?
And then you were saying that Swerve in Our Glory was going to win against the Acclaim because Keith Lee was going to get on the same page with Swerve, and they kind of switched those two around, right?
Switched that with PAX.
Yeah, exactly. So Keith Lee walks out on Swerve, and they ended up losing the title match with the Acclaimed, and then fucking Phoenix said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna use it." And we both got, well, you got both of them wrong. I got one of them wrong because when we were tossing around the scenarios or whatever, I was like, damn, man, they're fucking switching everything around and flipping it all around. Of course, we mentioned the Regal thing too, but one of the biggest gotcha moments was in that 4-way match when Claudio turns around and he gets fucking psycho kneed. And I thought Danielson had won the fucking match. I was like, holy 100%. Shit. I cannot believe he kicked out of that shit.
Yep. That was a really good near fall. There were a few spots in that match where I was like pretty fucking certain that somebody else was going to win, and then they ended up breaking it up or having the person kick out or whatever.
Even Sammy. I even thought Sammy was going to win a couple times.
Yeah, there were definitely a couple spots there too. I like the way that they did the dissension between Guevara and Jericho during the match. I pretty much, I mean, it was pretty obvious that we're going to do it, but I did call yesterday. I was like, there's going to be a spot in the match at some point where Claudio and Danielson clear the ring, and it's just them two in there, and then they're just like, fuck it, like we got to fight. So that was a pretty cool spot. Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff going on. The fucking leaping Judas effect over the swing to hit Claudio while he was in the middle of doing the swing on Guevara was cool. There were a lot of really good spots in that match. I like the way it played out. I was fine with it. I think anyone could have won this match and it would have made sense. Jericho keeping it to continue the Ring of Honor, beating up the Ring of Honor people thing makes sense. I'm fine with it. And hopefully Adam Cole comes back.
I mean, you're hyped for the Ishii match on Dynamite?
Yeah, Jericho versus Ishii will be cool. I did just see that this morning, so that was advertised. Yeah, I mean, I hopefully the end game for this is when Adam Cole comes back. He's the one that takes it off of Jericho, but we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that goes because I think, in my opinion, the only reason they're keeping these titles on guys with big names like we talked about yesterday is because
the TV
he
deal.
in that media scrum, he's still trying to get that weekly TV deal and he doesn't want to put it on YouTube. He's basically YouTube is a last resort.
Right.
And that's not because Dark Elevation and Dark are not viable options to watch stuff because everyone has access to YouTube. But you can make so much more money on a fucking network with advertisers and people paying you to have your fucking program on there because you're garnering ratings. So
Right.
that's the reason why. It's not that he hates YouTube or has an issue with YouTube. He can just make more money with that property if it was on an actual station.
I feel like it
So
should be kind of an easy sell too. If you
I
go
feel
to
like
a
it should
network and
be.
say, "Look at these numbers that I'm doing on fucking TBS and TNT in the 18 to 49 every Wednesday," and we have a lot of the same people that would be crossover, and
Yeah,
it
well,
draw a lot of the same audience.
he can definitely spin this however he wants analytically to make himself look good, especially because he featured Ring of Honor guys and a Ring of Honor World Title match on this show, which he
Mhm.
can link to the $1 Million Gate and the pay-per-view buys and stuff. And then of course, if he puts together a really good show at Final Battle on December 10th, I believe they said it was, which is a Saturday.
Mhm.
If they do really good buys with that, he can also use that to his advantage, but he's going to have to like build up these stars that he's having hold on to these titles. So we pretty much know we're getting a Jericho match and we're getting a Samoa Joe match. So that's pretty cool.
I think the problem
And an
is
FTR match. So like those 3 matches alone should be able to sell a shit ton of buys compared to Ring of Honor buys in the past, I mean.
Okay, so I think the issue with the TV deal right now is that even if he's pointing at those Dynamite numbers and saying like, "This is how well we do," when we have the same people that would be on this program, on this station at this time or whatever, is that lately they have been kind of going down in ratings too. I think they did 818 last week um,
For a go home show.
for a go home show without much competition. It's not great. Um, but I think too the go home show argument, go home shows for WWE are a really big deal because that's you get a lot of stuff that does change on those. Whereas in AEW, it's almost like nothing really changes on the go home show that's going to impact the pay per view. So there's almost not as much impetus to watch a go home show for AEW because everything's building to the pay per view in the sense that the show right before it's not going to change anything in any major way.
Yeah,
So
it's old school. It's the old
yeah,
school go home show type deal. It's almost
yeah,
like back in the Attitude Era, the go home show would be probably the most boring
you
show
have a
because they're
couple
saving it
promos
all for
saying
the
the
pay per
same
view.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a
So
rehash. Yeah, exactly. It's just a
right.
rehash of shit that they've already said and stuff like that. And then pretty much the best thing that came out of the go home shows back then was, hey, just give me this one really good line so I can use it in the video package for the fucking pay per view.
Or occasionally making some stipulation for a match, but it wouldn't change anything significantly. Yeah. Um, I didn't watch Dynamite last week. Um, Not live. I ended up watching it later, but I didn't watch it live. I was
No, I never
because it
watch
was
them
kind of
live
the
because I
same
know,
mentality.
but
I was like, well, I've got it on DVR. I got other stuff I want to do tonight, and I'll just catch it whenever. And probably not much is going to change with the pay per view coming up. So who cares?
DVR numbers are still good numbers though. Like it's still numbers. You got
Advertisers
to
don't
think
like
about
them because you can just
2022.
skip the commercials. That's why.
Okay, so that was the 4-way. Let's talk. Let's talk. We talked about
Also,
some Mojo. Let's talk about the triple threat.
real quick, I noticed. So I've got the YouTube TV thing, obviously, because you're on it. When I go to the settings and look at the Nielsen shit, it's all turned off. But I don't have any way to. I don't know how to turn it on. So even when we watch it, it doesn't count for their ratings or whatever. Because for whatever reason,
Do
I
you
just
have to
have that
have
shit
it
turned
for so
off.
long so they can actually build up a history, or is it something that you can just manually turn on and
No,
off?
so when I click the link, it says it's a privacy setting that I should be able to go to some place and turn on. But when I go there, there's not an option to turn it on. So I don't fucking know. But yeah, I mean, I'm wondering how many other people are watching like that and just not getting counted too. So
I mean, if I'm when I'm watching it, it says on demand, so I'm sure there's something in there that says how many times this thing's been played.
for DVR, yeah, but for live
Yeah, okay, I feel you. Yeah, I don't
and
know.
yeah, and the
But that
data
would help. That
collection
would hurt
stuff,
everything because I watch football on there too, so that would
yeah,
hurt
yeah,
that too.
it would. But what I'm yeah, so like apparently whatever my privacy settings are on either Google or my fucking phone or whatever has me opted out of that, and it straight up says Nielsen data whatever is off. So when I watch it, it doesn't add to that 818,000, even if I was watching it live. So I wonder how many people are also watching it like that. That would change the numbers.
All
But
right, triple
I guess there's
threat.
not
Triple threat
really
for
a way
the
to click that.
TV title. Wardlow loses it, but not to the person that we picked. We both picked Hobbs. A lot of people were picking Hobbs, actually. I saw on social media. I did not realize how many people thought Hobbs was actually going to win this or wanted Hobbs to win this. We were two of them, obviously. That didn't happen. The person that won it was the person I said wouldn't win it because they wouldn't have him have two titles. And yet, here we are. Samoa Joe wakes up this morning with the TV title in Ring of Honor and the TNT title, which is pretty much another TV title, in AEW. So
AEW copying WWE once again.
thoughts on Samoa Joe having, I mean, if you're going to have somebody have two titles, I don't have an issue with Samoa Joe being that person. But when you have Wardlow and Hobbs in that match as the homegrown guys,
it should be Hobbs. It should have been Hobbs.
Yeah, like that's weird to me.
I think that they saw the success that WWE was having a Samoan guy named Joe be a double champion, and they said, we're going to do the same shit. I don't see why they would have had Hobbs not win this. You still would have had Samoa Joe as the Ring of Honor champion. Doesn't hurt him at all. You could have done the exact same finish, but with Hobbs getting the pin instead of a submission. The match was short. It was so fucking short. Did it seem really short to you? Or did it just go by quick?
I don't know. I guess. I mean, there had to be some kind of short matches on there.
I guess. The Jade Cargill match was short, and this match was short. Because I just remember it was over, and I was like, damn, that didn't take long at all. But I guess it makes sense. You got three big ass dudes in there. That backflip splash kind of thing that Wardlow did on Joe and Hobbs when they were sitting in the center of the ring or whatever, that was pretty cool. That was a good spot. It was just the wrong winner. I didn't like it. The match itself was fine. Like, it wasn't anything to, it wasn't best match on the card or anything, but it was good. It was a good match. I don't like Hobbs constantly getting fucking shafted like this.
It sucks too because we know Starks is not winning.
Right. And there's so many...
now they're both going to get shafted back and forth, and this is what your concern was when you decided to split them up early in your eyes a few months ago.
Yes, they're going to get put in programs that they're not going to come out on top of. They should have just been tag team champions to build up some of their shit.
Correct. They should be the tag team that takes the titles off the Acclaimed.
Yes, I agree. And so it's just, it was a bad split, and now they're both kind of struggling around mid card and not winning titles. So
yeah, that's crazy. It sucks because I was going for Hobbs as well. Obviously, we both picked him. Let's talk the opening match, the cage match. We talked a little bit about it already when I mentioned the bleeding and everything, but like the comment I made earlier about the BR Live chat being trash is due to this match. So there was a lot of people talking shit and saying it was a weak elbow drop or whatever, and I'm sitting there like, first of all, there's no such thing as a weak 15-foot fucking elbow drop, right? So like
it broke the table. What do you mean?
They're mad because he didn't use his hip, and he actually mentioned that in the media scrum too, by the way, that he was thinking about using the hip and driving straight through, but he used the elbow instead because he didn't want to overshoot it because that would have been worse type deal. If you're dropping an elbow, I want you to hit him with your fucking elbow. It was an elbow drop. That did exactly what he was supposed to do. I thought it was badass. Like he was saying, and a lot of people were talking about during his appearance on the media scrum, the crowd went fucking apeshit for him when he climbed that because everybody knew what the fuck it was about to happen. I thought the match was really fucking good. I don't think they could get a better match between Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, honestly.
Yeah, it was a good match. It was a great opener. It was a very strong opener. I remember thinking, as soon as the match was over, I was like, if this was WWE 2K22 career mode or whatever, GM mode, the way that you're like, according to what Xavier Woods says when they're on Battle of the Brands, the ideal way to set up the show is to have like a really strong opener, like kind of mid in the middle, and then a really strong finish. And I was like, fuck, this would be like a really good opening match on GM mode because it's just like a really solid, like easy 4.5 star match. I don't think you could. Yeah, you're right. I don't think you could add a better match between those two. I like that the Christian Cage stuff was pretty much written out of the way early on, with his very bad Skyrim theft and all the guards catching him immediately.
I
Picking
thought
him
it
the
was
fuck up.
hilarious when he took the shit. If he, I mean, and the only reason it didn't work is because he only had one arm, so like he couldn't do it fast enough, and he still got it open anyway. So I thought it was funny. I liked the way it was a little bit different than he didn't just attack the ref and take the key. Like I
Right.
liked the way he did it. I thought it was funny. Um, little
Yeah.
slide bullshit heel type tactic. I thought it was.
It just immediately gets
great.
caught though. That's the
Yeah,
funny
yeah, it
thing.
was so fun. Like the dude literally goes around, doesn't see his
It's
shit,
like,
and like,
hey,
oh, I know
why
you
are you
fucking
opening
took
the
it. I'm
door?
chasing you down.
I see you, dumbass. You're 10 feet away from me.
But I like that, and then of course, like you said, they got him out of the way, so he didn't actually affect the outcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that match was really good, and I thank you, Tony Khan. He has we times where we nitpick pay-per-views because of match placement. I thought the match placement on this card was pretty well done, all things considered. And if you would have just like for instance, if you would have switched the steel cage match to be number 2 and started out with the trios match,
Mm.
the Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus match would have got buried because it was all predicated on the elbow drop from the fucking steel cage, top of the steel cage. Well, then when you see the trios match, if you saw that first, you saw them do all that crazy shit, which means his elbow drop wouldn't have been nearly as impressive. So with the crowd hot, feud that has a shit ton of story build behind it, and then the one, and it builds up to the one big spot, fucking crowd goes nuts. If you would have just a simple switch of those two matches, you could have buried the entire pay-per-view and everybody could have got burnt out real fast.
So I thought it was weird to have the Sting and Darby Allin match so late in the card, and then as soon as they started doing all the Darby Allin coffin drop off the ladder shit where Satnam Singh just catches him and those kind of spots, and Sting doing his crazy shit again, I thought, you know what, it's probably better that they put this later on the card for pretty much the same reason, because if you would have put that match first, then Jungle Boy doing the elbow drop probably wouldn't have been as impactful too.
And I also
So
like that because they put that later on, there was matches that didn't have that kind of stuff, so that when
Mhm.
Sting and Darby did it again, it was new again, basically, for the
Right.
show. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh shit, we just saw this with, Sammy Guevara or whatever. They had other shit in between. I do like the balance between free agent signings and homegrown talent. I feel like it was a really even split on this card. So you had Sammy Guevara in the 4-way match. You had Will Hobbs and Wardlow in the triple threat match. You had Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy together in the steel cage match. You had Saraya versus Britt, obviously. You had MJF versus Moxley. It was a really good split. You had Keith Lee and Swerve versus The Acclaimed. Like, it was pretty 50-50 all the way down the card. I thought that was a nice way to go as well.
Yeah, it worked out really well. I think as far as ranking it with all the other AEW pay-per-views, like it wasn't the best one ever or anything, but it was a very good pay-per-view. It was a very stat card all the way through. None of the matches were, I would say, bad. Like even the ones that I've complained about, they weren't bad matches. Like they were just, average, a little bit slow, like
let's
whatever.
break it down though. Like, this could have been a disaster pay-per-view, and I think they over-delivered based off of what they gave us. Does that make sense? So like we were saying yesterday, we're at 8 on the scale of 1 to 10 about how hyped we were for the show. You got to take into consideration Kenny Omega wrestled 2 matches after having a long layoff, then got suspended for 2 more months. Young Bucks got suspended for 2 months. That was their first match back. Saraya hadn't wrestled in 5 fucking years. MJF barely wrestles. So like, if you take all those things into consideration with the injuries and stuff and people coming back and everybody just coming back for this pay-per-view, the wrestling on it was pretty fucking good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the weakest matches obviously were I feel like the Saraya match and the Nyla Rose match, but I mean, even those, like I said, they weren't bad. They just compared to shit like Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm or like MJF and Moxley, whatever. Like they weren't going to stand out.
I'm
But they
glad.
weren't
I'm
bad
glad.
matches.
And like Saraya had said in the media scrum, I'm glad they put Tony Storm and Jamie Hayter as the last female match, because it would have made Saraya and Britt's match look even worse.
That plus, I mean, it's the World Championship match. You kind of have to put it later in the card.
No, I
than the other
agree,
women's
but
match.
that's not usually. I mean, that's not always how Tony does it with that division. Is my point. So like,
Yeah.
I like the way they even set up those 3 matches too. You had the the TBS title match, then you had the grudge match, the dream match, and then you had the actual world title match. I think that was a nice way to go throughout the show. And I really was not. I mean, don't get me wrong. We both know that Hayter and Tony Storm have a long history. We both know they can bring it to the ring, but I definitely was not expecting that type of match on this card with two other women's matches and how stacked the rest of the card was. Like, I was not expecting them to get, one, that much time, and two, that many false finishes. And yeah, it had a lot of dusty shit that happened in it, like a lot of interference and stuff, but that match was fucking so good, dude. That match was really good. That might be, besides the lights out match with Britt and Thunder Rosa, that might be one of my favorite, or if my favorite women's match in AEW. It was that good.
That's the difference between people who have wrestled in Stardom and people that haven't. I feel like that's, there's a type of experience and a type of wrestling that you learn from having that be kind of where you come up or where you've had experience versus, like Jade, like we said, like we both like Jade Cargill, we both like Nyla Rose, but it's just like it's not the same. I like Britt Baker a lot, but it's not the same. So
all I know is if Jamie Hayter would have hit Sammy that hard, he would have been bitching about it backstage.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Anything? Oh, let's talk about the tag team match. So Swerve and Our Glory officially or unofficially done, but I guess we'll really get
sure they're done.
The nail in the coffin, the final nail in the coffin soon enough. But
yeah.
You think this is gonna turn into a Ricky Starks Hobbs situation where they're gonna eventually get lost too, or what? Because clearly they're gonna start fighting each other, obviously. But after that, what's gonna happen?
I'm worried more about Keith Lee getting lost than I am Swerve. Swerve has I've got no concerns whatsoever about Swerve ending up at the top of whatever the fuck he wants to be at the top of. Keith Lee's kind of in that Miro spot where you could make him world champion tomorrow and it would make sense, but you have to make it make sense, and there's not like a lot of avenues narratively to do it right now, which is the problem.
No wiggle room.
Yeah, so
too many people.
Yeah, I'm less worried about Swerve than I am Keith Lee for sure.
Do you think a lot of these concerns about the guys that we're talking about goes away if Ring of Honor does have a weekly TV show?
Yeah,
and then we don't have them on AEW anymore type deal. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because then you just split up the fucking. You go for the world title over there, and it's not a downgrade at all. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like.
Go ahead.
I feel like the title picture now with Joe having 2 belts from different companies though is like he's probably gonna drop one at Death Before Dishonor if they have a TV deal by then, but that's only like a month away, so they probably won't. He'll probably keep it. You got to bring Miro back at some point to do something. And then the House of Black vignettes, are they going to keep running those for another 7 fucking weeks and then have them come and challenge whoever wins the series? Or are they going to do something before then?
See, this is what, and I wanted to get into this as well. If you announce a 7 match series and you already have all the dates lined up,
aren't you kind of admitting that it's going to go 7?
Sense if you got House of Black been fucking doing vignettes and posting shit online and they got to come back and you know they're coming back as a trio, where do they fit into all this? Because it's not like they're going to come back as faces, right?
Right, and you're also kind of giving away that it's going to go to the 7th match. There's not going to be a sweep. Because if you're already advertising it for the card and selling tickets with that being advertised, you can't really go back on that unless you say, hey, even if somebody has 4 wins by the 6th match, we're still going to do the 7th. Like, you're kind of saying outright, this is going to go to the 7th match, which,
I mean, it was going to go to the 7th match regardless of how they had it set up anyway.
Yes, but if you're presenting it as like a competition, unscripted, like whatever.
Basically, okay, so if they would have had this last night and they had announced it then, our prediction would have been Death Triangle wins match 1. Do you think you would have been more inclined to say Death Triangle won last night on the prediction show if we knew beforehand that it was going to be a 7 fucking match series?
Yeah, because then it would just make sense for them to retain it and then possibly lose it at the end of the series, because that makes them look way less bad than just the Elite coming back after 2 months off and just immediately winning them back. And like I said on the prediction show, I don't think Kenny would really be into that either. I don't think he would want to come back and just fucking take the titles off somebody that's been carrying them for the 2 months they were out. Just like, oh yeah, we're back. Give us our titles back. Like I don't see any of those three like being okay with that, honestly. So it
And
made
like we had
sense.
mentioned on the prediction show yesterday, definitely not with these three guys because
Right.
of their history with the three guys. Like this is easily your three, or your like we said yesterday, your two of the top four wrestlers in the world,
Right.
and then two of the top tag teams in the world, literally going against each other now 7 times. This could be one of the coolest fucking things we've ever seen, and especially if they go the route of, hey, let's make sure that we make each match different.
Yeah.
With a building up, building up, building up. This could be fucking something that we talk about for a long time in AEW.
And there's also the interesting element of
Also,
this
by the
is
way, before you said that thought, this also will help big time building up the prestige of the Trios Championship.
yeah, for sure. There's two things. One is that all these guys are really good at storytelling in the sense of like callbacks to other matches. So if you have them do a best of 7 series, I promise you there are going to be spots where something worked in like match 2 and then they go for it again and then that team knows how to counter it in match 4 and then in match 6 or match 5 or whatever, they go for that again, they go for the counter, that counter gets countered and then that's how they end up winning or whatever. Like
And you know the best part about
they
that?
all
You know
do
the
shit like
best
that.
part about that is that you have Excalibur there to explain it to you as well.
Give us a video package of all
For the
counters,
people
please.
that aren't watching it. The other thing
And
is,
give me a QR
see-
code.
Speaking of callbacks, what do you think? We'll talk about a little bit more about the media scrum here. What do you think about Jungle Boys talking about the callback to the Bad Blood match and rubbing it into Luchasaurus' face by coming out with the Shawn Michaels gear?
That was funny, but not as funny as him coming out and eating fucking the cinnamon bun or whatever the fuck he had
It
with
looked
his
like
face
pancakes or something. It looked like
yeah,
pancakes without any syrup or something.
still all bloody, clearly trying to fucking make fun of Punk because there's no reason for his face to still be bloody and he was in the first match and the media scrum is fucking 4 hours later. He 100% did that shit on purpose to make fun of CM Punk. I promise.
What else happened in the media scrum? Okay, so we had Hater. We talked a little bit about Hater. She didn't really say anything groundbreaking in the scrum, but she was. I thought she was going to ignore all the questions about the fans cheering her until somebody literally only asked her that one question. Then she finally had to answer it.
Yeah.
Which was another Will question from Grapsity.
MJF.
MJF, yeah, let's talk about that. Obviously, MJF. You can talk about the match too. Well, we already talked about the match a little bit, but
Yeah.
what do you think about that? I really wish he was more in front of a fucking mic because a lot of that you couldn't
Didn't
hear.
get picked up. It didn't get picked up on the official one, but if you watch one of the other
Yeah,
media
I haven't
streams,
watched
you
it
can pick it
yet,
up
but
there.
I did see that somebody was like literally right there
Mm.
recording. I got to watch that one so I can actually hear everything he said. But I mean, I got the gist of it, obviously. But yeah, what do you think
Yeah.
about that? And what did you think about him literally quoting CM Punk again?
So again, back to my conspiracy theory. I don't know that he's gone forever. We'll see. But they are referencing him a lot lately. I don't know what you do with him if and when you bring him back. It's not like you're going to have him come in and beat MJF for the title. You're not going to have him come in and go over any of your top guys. You can't really trust him for a while.
Can I just throw this out there now that we saw what happened last night? Do you guys know that Punk is a Regal guy too? Just saying. Just throwing that out there. When they had the very first NXT, Punk is a Regal guy too. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. And three devils together, bro.
Yeah, and the devil making you think he doesn't exist might be Punk. You thought I was gone. Yes.
So I mean, I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility because at this point, no one's going to cheer Punk. Like literally, there was "fuck CM Punk" chants last night, right? So there is, and I even saw a dude with a CM Punk shirt that had the duct tape across with the X across it. There are people genuinely disappointed and pissed off to a degree I don't think we've really seen it in wrestling. Like because they were so let down, because this is exactly what you said you wanted in wrestling and you came in and you fucked it up. So for him to come back, I don't think a lot of people want to see him against MJF anyway. They've already kind of anointed MJF into that fucking world title win last night, even though he turned on him in the end. Still, that's what they wanted. So there's no way they're cheering CM Punk against the MJF if that was an actual possibility of happening. So you might as well align him with him at this point instead. And make him heel.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
Obviously, we don't think this is going to happen. This is conspiracy theory shit that we're talking about. But there is, like, I feel like with... Oh, and let's talk about Media Scrum. Let's talk about Tony Khan, right? So he had mentioned the stuff about Ring of Honor. But he was point blank finally asked, has CM Punk ever said anything about taking Colt Cabana off the roster and putting him only on Ring of Honor? And he unequivocally said no. Now, if that was a yes, I do believe that Tony Khan would have just said no comment.
Right.
But for him to go out of the way and actually said, and like literally like with a straight face say no, he's never said that. That was never in conversation. He never had an issue with him actually working at AEW or even on AEW TV. Do you think this makes Punk look more dumb because of the way he went off about these quote-unquote leaked rumors that never really got leaked by the people that he thought it got leaked by? Or do you think this actually helps him going further because now people know that he didn't actually go out of his way to try to sabotage Colt Cabana within AEW?
I mean, both. It makes him look better in the sense that he didn't, like, he wasn't pushing for somebody to not work because he didn't like the guy, but it makes him look even more fucking paranoid and insane for thinking that somebody was spreading rumors about it when that wasn't happening. Every media person since has said that wasn't happening. Like, they said, no, the Elite hasn't ever said shit to us about anything. We don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This is literally just us guessing because he hasn't been on TV since you got there. So, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So, I mean, that's all I really want to talk about. I don't want to have a huge Punk discussion after the sweet pay-per-view, but it was mentioned in the Media Scrum, and that's what we're talking about now, so I figured we'd go ahead and bring that up. I thought that was a interesting bit of information just because most of the CM Punk stuff, if not all, Tony Khan just says no comment. So for him to actually comment on that particular part, I thought that was pretty eye-opening. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting someone to eventually ask him about Punk in some way, but I wasn't actually expecting him to answer. So I thought that was interesting. What do you think about TK signing Takeshita officially? About time, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's bad for DDT. Obviously, they're not going to be able to use it. He might still work dates there, but he's definitely obviously not going to be working there as much. I know Takeshita had said he was moving to America too, so I don't know what his future looks like with DDT. But the president of DDT ended up posting a picture with Kenny Omega backstage at Full Gear, saying that he was the one that was responsible for making all the communication between them happen and all that stuff. So that's cool. Maybe Kenny will show up back in DDT for a couple things. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, good. It's a very good signing.
According to the sources that I've seen online and stuff, it's going to be a similar deal to Yuka Sakazaki. So I think he'll wrestle here more, whereas she wrestles there more. But I'm under the impression that that's what it's going to be. So he will wrestle there more, but it's weird because he wants to wrestle here, so that's great for us, right? But he's basically the ace of DDT. So taking him away for long periods of time like that, I don't know what that really does for their company. I don't know if that helps their company, or they're looking at it like, hey, if we can get some exposure from America over to DDT, this would help us, because apparently their numbers have gone up since they've been featuring DDT guys in America, from what I've read. So it could be a win-win situation, honestly, because Asian Kenny Omega that has nothing to offer because he's not bringing anything to the table because he's just like Suzuki and Nagata and Yoshitatsu.
I forgot about that fucking guy. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So it'll be interesting to see him come over. I don't have a mark that tweet. Like I said, I haven't set up anything, but it's going to Mark Madden, just so everybody knows. We'll talk about that a little bit later too.
Christ.
But anything else on the Media Scrum or the pay-per-view that you want to talk about before we move forward?
No, he talked a little bit about doing more international shows, which I think is interesting. He did mention
The Montreal guy had asked a question about possibly coming there or whatever.
Yeah, he said Montreal was on the table, that they'd had success with the Canadian show. He was talking about doing UK markets and stuff, that they had learned a lot from the Canadian show and stuff. So they might be doing some more international shows soon, which would be kind of cool.
Which is fine because what the issue is right now, and a lot of people attribute the down ticket sales, is because he keeps running the same markets. And this is what I said on the show a few months ago. I said, I don't have a problem with him running the same markets, but eventually those markets are going to get tapped out for money, right? So, yes, I know why you're going to Chicago all the time. I know why you're going to New York all the time. I know why you're going to Philly all the time, shit like that, because those crowds make your product look amazing on TV, where people watch it and like, I gotta fucking go there. But then those people never get to go there because they can't travel there, and you never go to their cities. So I get what he was trying to do, but now he's in the position where those markets are getting tapped out. And it's like, dude, I don't have enough money to keep going to these fucking Chicago shows, or New York shows, or what have you. And the attendance is kind of down because you're not running these other markets. So now you're going to have to run these other markets, and I think he's starting to do that with the Canada shit. Now with London, which is going to obviously sell out. Canada sold out. The West Coast run that they're about to do is probably going to sell out because they have only gone there, I believe, once. And there's still a lot of debuts going to happen there, like I believe New Mexico or Arizona or some shit like that. Those are the debuts. I think they're debuting in Oregon finally or something like that as well. So they're going to the West Coast, and they are hitting new markets. So I think the ticket sales stuff might turn around here shortly.
I think one of the big problems with running some of these new markets that they haven't really tested yet is that you get crowds like you got in fucking Connecticut the other night. That crowd sucked.
That's the issue. Yes, that's the issue. But see, here's the thing: is like, and I agree with that, and I'm fully on board of, hey, if I come to your town and you're not giving me even half of what New York or Chicago gives me, I'm not coming back to your town for a while. I'm trying to put a good product on TV so that I can keep everybody happy and make these sales and make it an experience that people want to go to. So you see the crowd last night in New Jersey. I'm going back to New Jersey, bro.
Right.
Like, that's fucking nuts.
We're bringing MJF.
When you see Chicago get all these shows and then you complain about it online, but then you go out there and make no fucking noise in Memphis, Tennessee, or Charlotte, North Carolina, why would we come back to your fucking crowd? Go make fucking noise. Like, that's literally all you have to do. Come across on TV. Even if Daly's Place has fucking better sound than you and they're opened, it's an open stadium, or open venue, I should say. It's not really a stadium. Open venue, and they come off louder than you, there's an issue.
Yeah.
And think about how many times they've ran at Daly's Place.
A lot.
Yeah, exactly. In Jacksonville, Florida. If Jacksonville, Florida is louder than you, and they've ran it fucking a million times, and they have an open arena, then no, you don't deserve a show. I don't care. St. Louis deserves a show. Newark they were Newark, right?
They were Newark, yeah.
They deserve a show. The Connecticut crowd, I think, was pretty good too, right?
No, that was the shitty one.
Oh, that's the one you said was shitty. Okay.
Yeah.
There was another one that was really good. I gave props to a few weeks back, and I said, "Damn, they really deserve another show too." And I can't remember who it was. It was a smaller state/city or whatever too. So I wasn't expecting it, but they came off really well. It might have been Kentucky. Do you think they were in Kentucky? It was a kind of like a state like that, and I was not expecting them to be that loud, and they were, and they deserve another show. So stuff like that, like, and then of course their first time that they ever went to LA, the LA area and all that shit, they were super fucking loud. So I'm not shocked that they're going back there. But yeah, if you're going to AEW and it's the first time they've ever been there, and you want them to come back, you need to go there and make fucking noise. Like, it's that simple, dude.
Running a lot of Texas. They're doing Chicago next week. Indianapolis the week after that, and it's like Texas for fucking ever.
I don't have a problem with them running the same markets a few weeks in a row either, because less gas you have to fucking spend, obviously, if you're Tony Khan. Less moving, less stuff, less wear and tear on people's bodies. Like that, I've never understood that WWE shit where, hey, we're in New York tonight, we're going to LA fucking tomorrow for Tuesday SmackDown, and then we're gonna go fucking for the pay-per-view over in Chicago. And I'm sitting there like, dude, you got a plan better than that. God damn. That's fucking ridiculous.
They don't have anything near here in the near future. Like, not even fucking remotely close.
And I don't blame them, because most of the East Coast cities, unless you're New York or fucking New Jersey, have sucked.
Yeah. Shit. Everything's super far. I did see some people complaining that they had already bought tickets to the Seattle show, and now obviously Kenny Omega is going to be at Wrestle Kingdom. So they were like, "Oh, the Elite's not going to be there." I wish I'd known that before I bought the tickets.
Wasn't those tickets on sale before they even announced that fucking Elite was coming back from their suspension, though?
Probably.
I mean, come on. Why did you think he was going to be there? Like, you didn't probably buy the tickets initially thinking that he was going to be there anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's pretty much it for the Scrum and the pay-per-view.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's fine. We can move on. Survivor Series War Games interest level. I want to know your interest level right now. Obviously, it's happening this Saturday. I believe it's Saturday. Who do you think is going to be that final partner for Bianca Belair's team? What's your interest level in Kevin Owens being the last member against Sami Zayn for the Bloodline versus the Bruties versus the Ucies? And I don't know what else is really going on that show, honestly. Finn Balor versus AJ Styles, maybe? I think it's supposed to happen. One-on-one? I think.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a singles match, but obviously they're gonna have everybody ringside.
Shit ton of interference, yeah.
Match.
Well, maybe not, because Rhea Ripley and Mia Yim are part of the War Games match, so maybe it won't be that bad.
Yeah.
They'll just have the two tag teams out, or the tag team and then Dominic and whatever. So yeah, that's a match I wish they would make like a cage match and just leave everybody else in the back. Let's just watch them fucking go at it.
Who's their surprise partner?
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. Who do you think their surprise partner is?
So the graphic for it shows the Hood with like a little bit of blue hair or whatever. So people are thinking it's Sasha, but I don't know. I have no idea. It could just be a random fucking graphic too.
Wasting Sasha on a random ass War Games match.
Yeah.
With a team that doesn't look like it goes together. Instead of just say if you have Sasha right now and you know she's coming back to WWE, why is she not winning your Royal Rumble?
Yeah, that is only like what, a month and a half away.
So I'm thinking maybe Charlotte.
It would have to be somebody that like.
It's got to be somebody coming back. So I'm thinking Charlotte, Becky, but I don't know how long Becky was supposed to be out. And obviously Becky was on the side of Bianca after WrestleMania when she got hurt, and then Damage Control came back. So like storyline wise, Becky makes the most sense easily. Yeah, but I don't know if she's cleared or not.
Right. And then maybe Beth Phoenix would make sense too, because of the whole Rhea Ripley thing. But the thing is, we're trying to figure out shit that makes sense, but we know that they don't book in a way that makes sense. So who knows? Could be anybody.
Okay, well, interest level though, 1 to 10 for Saturday.
With this lineup so far, like 4. I don't know.
The lineup actually I don't think is bad. I think there's.
But they just haven't announced enough for you, so I don't really give a shit.
That's true too. Like, but AJ versus Finn, I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what Sammy does when him and Kevin Owens.
Fucking times, dude.
I don't know about so many times. Singles, they've only did the one at Survivor Series, right?
But they've been having the stupid goddamn back and forth. It feels like forever.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like for me, it's. I'm not trying to say it's like this. I'm not trying to say it's like Keith Lee versus Dominic Dijakovic because they haven't wrestled nearly as many times as that. But it's almost like, and it's better. It'll probably be better quality, but it's almost like, dude, there's no way they're missing. There's no way that match is happening and they're not missing. So it's going to be a good match.
It's going to be a bunch of stupid fucking interference.
That's now, if that happens, then yes, I agree. That's going to take away from it big time.
But you already know it will.
If they end up not having that, I'm cool with like that match happening.
The only match I really give a fuck about so far is the men's War Game match. I think that one should be interesting.
See, I don't. The only thing I like about it is Sammy and the Bloodline against what is he going to do against Kevin Owens. The rest of it, I don't like the Brawling Brute thing. You're telling me that on SmackDown, randomly at the beginning of the fucking show, you buried a 20-year rivalry with fucking Drew McIntyre randomly out of nowhere, and now we're best buds. It didn't even make any sense. The promo made zero sense, dude. I'm not a huge fan of Ridge Holland. Still don't like the name Butch. I think that's still fucking stupid, and I can't believe he hasn't gone back to Pete Dunne yet. Yeah, I'm just not into that match as a War Games match. It's almost like there's no way I can look at these two rosters and say that the Bloodline's not winning this when you have Ridge Holland over there to take the fucking pinfall or submission on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously probably gonna be the one that takes it, but you know, could be the interest is in the Kevin Owens Sammy thing, and also just the Bloodline being the hottest thing that they've got right now on that brand. So, I mean, it's more interesting to me than fucking Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi.
Hey, that's true, but I do like that Shotzi's getting a shot here. I do like Shotzi, so.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, she's gonna
I
get a
still
shot,
feel like
but
that's
she's clearly
just
not gonna
leading up
win.
to Ronda versus Shayna at WrestleMania, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Oh Okay,
yeah, like a 4. I don't know. I don't really care that
yeah, that's
much.
fine. I'm probably like 5, 6 would be pushing it, so I'll say 5. We'll see what happens this week and see what they announce. Not really trying to see Braun Strowman fucking win this goddamn World Cup thing either. Did like the Ricochet promo though, when he called out Braun's tweet about flippy floppers or whatever, and said you're gonna find out. But I wish that was the case. I really wish Ricochet would win, but he's not going to. If
Also,
Ricochet won, it would be fucking great.
yeah, motherfuckers like Wardlow out there doing moonsaults and all kinds of shit, complain about flippy floppers. Like Wardlow's not fucking huge. Like,
Keith Lee, Lance
so
Archer,
stupid.
they can all do it
Yeah,
too.
right. So
All right. Last topic on the hot tag topics. Let's talk about it. Historic X Over happened. First ever joint pay-per-view between New Japan and Stardom, and we got our first ever
crossover.
Yeah. What did I say?
X over.
Well, that's what it says. But anyway,
Okay.
Historic crossover. First ever IWGP Women's Champion crowned, and it was Kairi Sane or Kairi. Thoughts on that?
Cool. I mean, not much to say about it. I'm a little surprised, but it was a good match. I was up super fucking late watching it, so the whole show was not bad at all. I'm a little surprised that they didn't have Mayu win it because she was like the one of their big 3 that didn't end up leaving and going to WWE or whatever. She's been there for so long that I'm a little surprised they didn't give it to her as like a thanks for never going to WWE kind of like loyalty kind of thing. I was a little surprised by that, but Kyrie is a good person to win it because it brings a lot of foreign interest to it from people that know her from WWE or whatever, whereas Mayu doesn't really have that same benefit. So I guess it makes sense. Her gear was cool as fuck too. The match was really good. She hit that big spinning back fist, hit her elbow, won the match.
Yeah,
It was
insane elbow. Yeah.
The whole match was pretty,
Okay, so obviously the other big news coming out of that was Kenny Omega.
Yeah. Kenny Omega announcing that he's challenging Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom. So Kenny Omega on 2 pay-per-views in one night. How about that? So that was pretty cool. They kind of gave away that a little bit when they posted the
Well, not in America because that was the next day.
whatever. They kind of gave away that the that might have been happening though, because even at the media scrum, somebody was like, "Yeah, I noticed that one of the dates that's not on the list of the best of 7 is the fucking the same date that Wrestle Kingdom is happening." And they were like,
Yeah,
yeah,
January 4th, yeah.
we'd
January
love to
4th
send some
was
people over there,
blank.
but
Well,
yeah.
now you know why. So you're gonna have, and the funny thing is Tony Khan didn't really tip it off either.
No.
He was asked about that in the media scrum about possibly working with New Japan to bring AEW guys over to Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
And he gave like a pretty much like a generic answer, so it didn't really help tip on anybody off. He could have. If I was Tony Khan in that position, I might have. I'd have been like, hey, you know they got that big show tonight? You might want to watch that to help people get more eyes on their product and really help them out. But I mean, it's not nitpick, obviously. We didn't know that was going to happen. I definitely didn't know Kenny Omega was going to fucking show up, but that was crazy. So Kenny Omega versus Ospreay for the IWGP US title. And he basically said he's there to save the company again for the fans because Ospreay couldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what their whole online Twitter beef has been about anyway, is that he gave him the keys to the castle. Everything's gone downhill since he's left, and then he tried to blame it on the pandemic, but Omega's basically saying if I was still there, that wouldn't have been an excuse because the numbers would have still been there. So now he's back to reclaim the keys to the castle, and he's going to show him by beating him and taking the title. Now, I don't really think he's going to beat Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom, honestly. I think Ospreay's beating him.
From a New Japan point of view, they would want Kenny to lose because it gives credibility to their champion. But also, having Kenny win the belt brings a lot of eyes back to their product because Kenny's not wrong in a lot of the shit that he's saying in character. When he was there and when he was at the top of their shit, they were getting a lot more foreign interest, and a lot of it is the clapping shit too. Like I don't watch nearly as much New Japan now because the crowd reactions just are not there, and it makes the wrestling weird to watch. I'm not a big fan of it. I haven't been since I started it. We're at the point with the pandemic now where you've got these people in close proximity anyway. Them not yelling or saying shit out loud is not going to change the fact that you're sitting fucking 2 feet away from somebody. Like you're still breathing. So that whole thing is very dumb. I still don't understand why they're still doing it. They've had a couple shows where they don't have that rule, but for some reason they still implemented a lot of them. They really just need to get rid of it. It's killing their fucking product. It's one of the main reasons I definitely don't keep up with it as much anymore. So yeah, we'll see.
I can't imagine them having that rule during Wrestle Kingdom.
Wrestle Kingdom? Yeah, no, it would be fucking disastrous. They might just have like a masked rule or something, but yeah, it's so fucking silly.
So with now Kenny going there, and then of course the other thing is FTR going there to go against Aussie Open. Can you see anybody else from AEW making an appearance over there? Juice Robinson, Lance Archer.
Lance Archer will probably be there for some Suzuki Gun bullshit. Nobody else I can think of right. Danielson might want to go. But Danielson's also on the poster for the Seattle show, and Seattle's like his, area. So he's probably going to be at that instead. It is a pretty short flight from Seattle to Japan going left, though. So we'll see.
I mean, especially if he's going to be later on in the show.
Yeah, if he's early on the one show and then later on the other show, maybe could make it work.
All right, so there is our thoughts on AEW Full Gear, the Media Scrum, Survivor Series, War Games, interest level, and historic crossover for you. With the Omega appearance last night, which was what everybody's talking about, and of course the Kyrie being the first ever IWGP Women's Championship champion, which is fucking badass. Very happy for her. But now we must move on to Ucey or Not Ucey.
It'll be easy ones today, boy.
Just hasn't been very Ucey.
If you can't find your inner Ucey again,
there we go. Ucey or Not Ucey. We got 3 topics for you. Here we go. Number 1, Sarah Logan returns to WWE. Ucey or Not Ucey?
Not Ucey. Don't give a shit. Stole Mad Max's look. Hate it. Go away.
And we didn't have a show last week, so I couldn't talk about this and rant about it the way I wanted to. But anyone who's trying to say that it's based off of old Viking bullshit and video game stuff or whatever, I don't care. When you have the exact same look down to the green braid, to the single green braid, dude, like you lose all credibility in this argument. Yes, I understand that there are other looks that look like that, but Mad Max based her look off of that, or Max the Impaler rather. Max the Impaler based her look off of that first, which means Sarah Logan copied her look. I don't give a fuck. what you say. I don't care if you're gonna try to act like Sarah Logan doesn't know who Max the Impaler is. There's no fucking way that she doesn't when she's been sitting at home on Twitter this whole time and social media talking about her baby and her farm and all this shit. That Max the Impaler clip from someone hasn't popped up on her feed, especially when Max the Impaler went over to Japan recently and got a lot of buzz over there as well, and has been on NWA recently. There's no way she didn't get this look from Max the Impaler. It's bullshit. Hate
Okay,
it.
so I will say it might not be Sarah Logan's fault. This could be somebody in creative or somebody in wardrobe or whoever the fuck on the writing team, whatever, giving her this stuff without it like being her choice to rip off something. It could be
The fact
WWE's
that she
choice to rip
hasn't
off
come
something.
out and said anything to everyone literally talking to her about it, though, gives me pause to say that that's not the case.
Yeah, and the bad part is it's not even like a good costume. It looks like Party City cheap pleather fucking like it's the laziest looking shit. It looks like a bad costume. It's not even good. Um my couch has nicer stitching than that goddamn leather outfit. Like it was so ugly. So
By
it's
the
not even
way,
a good
ugly.
ripoff.
Like,
That's the
everybody
worst
made
part.
fun of the Ascension's face paint, by the way. That new War Raider shit, Viking Raiders
Yeah.
face paint is so bad.
Yeah.
It looks like they went to the Painmaker Jericho closet.
Yeah.
It's bad. By the way, I will say this as well. It's pretty much well documented that Vikings didn't have dreadlocks. They were actually very neatly kept hair. So like Ivar is a lot closer, or I mean not Ivar, but Eric with the long hair is actually a lot closer to what an actual Viking looked like back then than a Sarah Logan. So let me just go and throw that out there too. But yeah, not Ucey at all.
Yeah.
Next up, Tyrus wins the NWA title. Ucey or not Ucey?
Come on, man. Come on. There's nothing Uzi about any of this. The man can't fucking move, let alone wrestle. He's the dumbest mother. Like, if you ever hear him talk on anything, like any show he's ever on, anything, he's the dumbest motherfucker. Like, I don't understand what the plan is here, but there's no scenario that I can think of where this looks good for NWA, that it helps them in any way, that it's drawing any new eyes to the product. Like, it's just so shit, dude. I don't understand what the plan is, what the goal is. I mean, maybe this is part of why Nick left. I don't fucking know, but that it's almost like he's intentionally killing his product. I don't understand. It's
Well, we'll talk about this in a second. I just want to know if Tyrus winning the NWA title, Ucey or not Ucey.
I already told you no, but you
Yeah, I
walked
know,
away. So
and I agree.
So, yeah, just absolute dog shit. I don't understand what the fuck the plan is here. If there is a plan, maybe he's an investor. I don't know. Maybe he gave Billy
It's
Corgan
not
some
good.
money.
It's
Yeah,
not good.
I have no idea.
The clip going around of him jumping off the top rope was fucking so good. I showed it to somebody at work that doesn't even watch wrestling, and they thought it was hilarious, dude. I was like, "What the?" They actually asked me. He said, "What the fuck was that?" And I said, "Exactly, dude."
I have
Exactly.
zero doubt in my mind that both of us could go to a wrestling ring right now and do a better splash than that.
I could do a better
100%.
everything than him.
100%. 100%. No doubt.
I mean, zero doubt in my mind too. Zero. And I got a
Awful.
bad back. Zero doubt.
Awful.
And bad chest. Zero doubt.
Have a great
Zero doubt. By the way, I
yeah,
do feel a lot
sorry.
better for anybody that's wondering. I'm pretty sure it was a pulled muscle. But I'm back to pretty much 100% right now. It's very rare that I get a pain in the chest. So I should be streaming video games this week again. Hopefully full time. We'll see, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. We'll see. But the other thing is, the other Ucey or not Ucey ties into this. Obviously, that's why I wanted you to stop talking and stepped in like Tony Khan should have done with Punk. But Nick Aldis done with the NWA. Ucey or not Ucey?
He's old. He's tired. He works with fucking Funkosauruses. Ucey, great, good.
Super
Be
Ucey.
gone. Get the fuck out.
Ucey.
You can go anywhere. You're a talented dude. You're a little like he's got the good wrestler but kind of generic problem where his
He
character
looks like a regular
work,
guy.
yeah, Like his character work doesn't make him stand out in any way, but his wrestling is really good. You could put him at the upper, like mid card of any company, and he'd fit right in.
I could easily see him as IC champ in WWE.
Yeah, he could go there. He could go, he could do some Ring of Honor stuff. Like I could see him in MLW if they wanted to raise their stock some. I think he gets lost in the shuffle on AEW. They've already got like way too many people. He could even go do some New Japan Strong shit and fit in really well over there.
I think he would work really good in AEW after Ring of Honor gets separated and has their own weekly too. Not in Ring of Honor, but like he would fit better in AEW after Ring of Honor gets taken off of AEW TV.
Yeah, probably.
We're talking about a guy that was literally twice in a match with Cody for the NWA title, and did really good buys both times. Well, one was obviously All In, but the other one, even in the NWA show, did really good. So it's not like he can't.
That's because of Cody. That's why.
Well, yeah, but him and Cody have really good chemistry. That's my point.
Yeah, I mean, you could always do the angle too, where you finally have Cody win the belt over in WWE, and then you have Nick come in and try to challenge him for it, because that's what.
That'd be cool. That'd be a cool story. But yeah, like he has the doesn't have the charisma of a LA Knight, but he has that demeanor like there's a regular guy.
Dude.
Yeah, just a regular dude, but he's like really good at fucking wrestling. The only thing that might take him back from going to WWE is the horror stories with Mickie James, which is his wife, obviously. The other shit with him and Mickey having a falling out with Billy Corgan over this whole fucking Empower women can't draw, or he don't have enough women to run another Empower shit. Also not Ucey from Billy Corgan. Billy Corgan, you're fucking up your company big time. I never really thought the lead singer of a punk grunge fucking outfit would ever be so right-winged. Not that I'm trying to turn this into a political thing, but it's just really weird that the stances he's taking wrestling-wise against women and this NWA style, by the way, that Nick Aldis was the NWA style, and now you fuck that up with this guy, and now you're turning the NWA style into Trevor Murdoch and Tyrus, and that's just garbage to watch. And I feel really bad for Matt Cardona for having to be in that match at all. By the way, Matt Cardona, I would put him in the same realm as a Nick Aldis and an LA Knight, by the way.
I think he does a little bit better at doing the dickhead heel thing than either of them do.
I think, because I think Cardona can be like strictly heel.
Yeah.
Whereas LA Knight, his heel is going to get over as a face.
Yeah.
LA Knight's going to get over as a face doing what he's doing.
LA Knight's problem is that he's too fucking likable. Whereas even if he's being a dick, he's too likable because he's just funny. He's got really good comedic timing. He's very charismatic. And Cardona is too, but he's a lot better at making himself unlikable, I feel like, than LA Knight is. As far as the Empower thing, I don't know where I am on that, because if you look at NWA's like women's roster, what are you gonna build a women's show around? You got like Chelsea Green, you've got Allison Kay.
You don't have Chelsea Green no more.
Yeah, right. So you've got Allison Kay, you've got Camille, obviously.
Mickie James, Melina,
yeah.
Allison Kay's partner, Marty Bell. Ashley Vox.
Fuck.
I can't really remember anybody else off the top of my head.
Right. So like I get.
But you could pull from other companies. That was Mickie James's point.
Yeah, maybe. But the problem is a lot of people don't really want to work with NWA right now. So maybe he could.
Yeah, obviously now for sure.
I think maybe even before. Because there's no benefit.
Okay, can we say this like factual that NWA was literally coming back, and then with the Cornette situation and the pandemic fucked them. They probably handled the pandemic worse than anybody that had to go through it.
They dropped the ball super hard, man.
I mean, Ring of Honor went out of business, but at least they sold their company. I don't think Tony Khan would touch NWA right now, even if they wanted to sell it.
Just to get the belts, maybe have some more belts on AEW.
or just to have. And they don't even have that many video libraries either. I heard that
Yeah.
WWE has most of it, so there's not even anything there tangible to use. Because why the hell would you want this new NWA shit? You don't want that
Yeah.
shit.
We need that Tyrus contract.
But yeah, like fucking no, everybody would be released from their contract. But yeah, like there's no value in that company right now. So Ring of Honor aside from going under because they were still trying to run shows with no crowd or whatever and signing everybody into like big long contracts because they were gonna try to compete with like a NWA and MLW and eventually Impact. I believe that's where they were headed. But then they couldn't get any financial backing from Anthem or Access or whoever the fuck they were with. And that really killed them as well. But other than them,
Claire.
NWA just literally shutting down and then losing all your people. You lost Eddie Kingston, Ricky Starks, oh my god, holy shit, I just lost my train of thought with the names. Hell, just those two alone, honestly. But anyway, then of course LA Knight went to WWE. Eli Drake, obviously. Who else did you have? I feel like there's a couple more that I'm missing off the top of my head here. And then of course you had the passing of Josephus as well during the pandemic, so that definitely didn't help. He was probably your most over comedy act by far as the question mark. When he passed away, so that didn't help you any. So basically you were hanging your hat on Nick Aldis and James Storm. And not that they're bad or anything, but after that it was like and Pope, and then after that, and he was like an announcer that whole time, so it was not good. So when you're just stop running shows and everybody's contract is running out, or you're just releasing them because you can't pay them anymore, and they're going to get picked up by Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa was a huge departure as well. Yeah, that killed you so fast, dude. That was probably the most mishandled fucking promotion out of the pandemic era, out of anybody. I would have rather watched Thunderdome with WWE than not have a fucking show at all. That made no sense. Especially when you were on the come up. When you were on the come up, dude. Like, people were literally tweeting about your product and watching your product on YouTube on a weekly basis. And then you made it even worse by going to a fucking pay-to-watch system. Like, you didn't have the audience for that yet.
They didn't
that was not
they
good
also
either.
didn't have the same stadium access and stuff as AEW and WWE did, so they were kind of in a shitty spot.
It was bad. Yeah. They should have never stopped running shows so they could at least made some money off of YouTube. It was a terrible idea to pull it all together. What money are you making off of fucking not possibly having your 200 people or less than 200 people in your studio setting? Are you really losing that much money? No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't think that was a good idea at all. Sadly, we have to talk about this on the way out. Of course, if you are just getting on social media and shit today, we got to throw up the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, of course. Jason David Frank has passed away from suicide at the age of 49. If you don't know who he is the green and white Power Ranger, a big part of our childhood and a lot of other...
And black and red.
And red, yeah, but I mean, the main two, Mighty Morphins, obviously, is what people know. People our age know him the most as. And kept coming back and went to all the conventions, and I've heard really good stories about how nice he was. He did a lot of the superhero beatdown or whatever series for YouTube, where he came back and was the green and white rangers for a lot of those, which are really well done shorts between where they pit one superhero versus another or whatever. He also made a cameo in the new Power Rangers movie that released a few years ago. So that sucked to wake up to this morning. Never really had any notions that he was depressed in any way because of how nice he was all the time. But like, that's usually the people that you don't expect that kind of stuff from. Like, a lot of people didn't. The Robin Williams thing, for instance, came out of nowhere for a lot of people. So when you keep hearing about this kind of stuff all the time, it's weird because it doesn't become less shocking, if that makes sense. Like, because of how nice he was. I mean, I have a friend, Travana, who was a huge Power Rangers fan, and she worked for a place in North Carolina called Pineapple Shaped Lamps, where they literally went to a lot of cons, like Florida SuperCon and stuff, and literally would put on a performance while the Power Rangers movie is playing on in the background, and he actually came to watch their performance or whatever, and they would do like little fourth wall sidebars and shit, which was really hilarious, and uh, come up and talk about how much he liked it and everything. And I know she's devastated today, obviously, with a lot of other people. Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy because uh, he was the one that was most in the limelight from the OG Power Rangers, whereas everybody else is kind of taking a back seat and not really been out there. And he keeps coming back to the franchise and just really well known for that. Of course, he went into MMA for a little bit as well. For those that don't know, and even though it wasn't like a huge promotion or anything, he actually did pretty decent.
Yeah, he was his amateur record. I think he was undefeated. His amateur record, he was 4-0, and then his pro record, I think he won the one fight he did pro. It was years ago. It was like 12 years ago. But yeah,
But yeah, so sad that he passed away. That's gonna suck all day. I do actually have his White Ranger helmet over there in my retro section. I got a White Ranger bust helmet over there, like a small one, not the actual size one. But it sucks, man, because I don't really go to conventions and stuff. It's one of those things where like I really would want to, but I just don't. One, I don't have the money for it or the time, and then three, I got crazy anxiety. I don't like being around a lot of people, so cons are just not my thing.
Hmm.
But to know that I'll never be able to get to meet him or have him sign something or just tell him how much I was a fan of the show and shit as a kid, with sudden losses like this really kind of sucks. Um, so yeah, he's definitely going to be missed in more ways than one with a lot of people today, especially people our age and a little bit younger than us who was like ride or die with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like if you weren't playing Power Rangers in your backyard and you didn't have a favorite Power Ranger, then I don't know what the hell you were doing because we all did. I was the Red Ranger. I believe you were Tommy.
yep,
Um,
I was
Shayna was Kimberly, and I don't know who Ethan was. Whoever we made him.
Billy.
He wanted to be Jason or Tommy, and we were like, no, fuck you.
No, you can't. We're older.
No,
We're the cool
you're not-
ones.
you're
You
not
got to
gonna
be
do it.
Billy.
But yeah, that sucks, man. That sucked waking up to today. Apparently there was rumors about it, but we just got confirmation a few hours ago. So yeah, that sucks.
You remember we had
R.I.P.,
that?
rest in peace.
You remember we had that VHS tape?
Yes, I was telling somebody about that at work. They didn't believe me. You talking about the
The
VHS
karate-
test where he's teaching you how to karate?
It was called the Karate Club. Yeah,
Dude, we
And,
had it. Yes.
yeah.
Oh,
The-
I
where
hope.
you learn
I don't know
the-
if we still have it or not. I hope we do. But I was trying to tell somebody about that shit the other
Bro,
day.
I watched that shit so many times.
Literally
That's-
teaching you karate moves, dude.
Yes,
We had a
so-
Christmas one too, right? Didn't we? Like a Christmas special one, I believe we had as well. Power Rangers Christmas special.
I don't remember, but I do remember the Karate Club one because what I used to do was I used to hang a fucking laundry bag full of clothes from the bunk bed as like a punching bag and practice all the shit on that and then just like take it down and whatever. But you would learn the Green Ranger kata and like it would teach you all the fucking horse stance shit. Yeah, I must have watched that video fucking 20 goddamn times at least.
I watched it
So,
too,
yeah.
dude. I watched it, and it was just the beginner one. I don't know if they ever actually came out with any other ones or whatever.
Yeah.
But they made it seem like they were going to come out with more of them. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious too, and like
Didn't want to make us too strong.
I don't know how many people actually even know that that exists. So I'm
Yeah.
like, that's something I would have got him to sign, honestly. Like if I would have ever met him and got him to sign something, that's probably what I would have got him to sign because I don't think that there's a lot of copies of those floating around, honestly.
Probably not. Yeah.
But yeah, that I was literally just telling somebody about that like weeks ago at work, trying to explain it to him, and I was like, dude, I promise you this thing exists. I promise
He's
you.
on there with a bunch of kids teaching fucking karate, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
it's fucking crazy. Like it was just so random. I don't even know how the hell we ended up getting it.
Yeah, I don't either.
But anyway, if anybody is struggling in their life, as of July of 2022 this year, they changed the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. All you have to do is type in hashtag 988 or pound sign 988. I mean, it's a hashtag, but pound sign 988. They changed it to make it easier for you guys to remember. So definitely hit that up if you are having issues, so that you can get the help and that you need. So that sucks. I didn't really want to end it on that note, but we definitely had to talk about it because it was a big part of my childhood. It was Power Rangers. It was Power Rangers and wrestling for me as a kid for sure. So as the first one to go, if you don't count Trini's accident, obviously. as the first one to go, and the way that he just went, that sucks. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there. And we will be back next week with 2 more videos on the new YouTube channel, because we have to do the predictions for Survivor Series War Games. And then, of course, we will do our regular show where we will talk about AEW Dynamite, see what happens with the fallout with MJF, and, of course, reviewing and recapping War Games as well. And then we'll look forward to the next thing, which I believe will be Final Battle, and then Wrestle Kingdom will be like the next big steps in wrestling. And, of course, at the end of the month in December, we will be doing the Monster Awards, which will be our 4th ever? 3rd ever?
3rd, I think.
Hold on, let me check. I do have them all saved. Nope, 4th. We did one in 2019. We started the podcast in 2019, October of 2019, but we still did Monster Awards, even though we had only had the show for like 3 months. So this will be our 4th ever Monster Awards, but this will be our first one live, right? Yeah, this will be our first ever one live, because we didn't start doing the live video podcast till this year. So yeah, Monster Awards. I'm excited for that. I'm going to see if I can get a lot of stuff set up for that to make it a little bit more interactive and easier to understand on the thing, instead of us just coming on here and telling you about it. Like maybe throw up some graphics and shit like that. It'll be fun. But yeah, that'll be fun too to do. That'll be the last week of this year. Our grading period, or whatever you want to call it, is literally January 1st to the last week in December. We're not making this shit complicated.
None of that PWI bullshit.
Yeah, we're not making this shit complicated where you got to try to backtrack and figure out, oh, what did they do in this fucking period? No, it's what did they do in this year? This is the
John
year.
Moxley will be on there.
John Moxley probably will be on there somewhere. It's not a ranking system, it's just an award show, but yes, he'll probably still be on there. But anyway, appreciate everybody that came through today. I'm glad to be back. Don't know how many shows we're going to do for the rest of the year, because like I said, I'm doing a lot of overtime and stuff with the holidays, but we definitely will be back with 2 more episodes next week, and I'll definitely be doing an award show the last week of the year. So those are set in stone. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. If you missed any of this, of course, you can catch it on YouTube with the new YouTube channel. And we are live every Sunday here on Twitch as well. So don't forget that, because we would love to have you guys here live and chat with us and tell us how wrong you think we are about everything. But yeah, thanks for everything. We'll be back next week. The prediction show will not be live, just so FYI. We'll be live on Twitch for the regular show, like this show right here. But you can find the prediction show on the new YouTube channel. Deuces. Hope you have a great day. MonsterCast is out, bro. The great Ryan first. That's what I'm gonna start calling you, instead of Brian last.
Thank
on
you.
That dumbass Jim Cornette show.
I am first. Number 1.